the things that we're making down in Mexico. So you can see it's a complicated little part. There's a lot of, probably 10, 15 steps just to get that one brace made to this shape. And it's about 95% complete. There's a little bit of shaping that happens to it after it's been glued onto the top. Every single guitars, we've got 5 shapes of guitars, and then we've got different bracing patterns that go on different shapes. So there's a whole variety of tooling that you need to get the bracing on right. We make simple fixtures like you see here out of plexiglass. And again, we make the fixtures with a laser, right?
Eric Bonker.
Drilling down.
293, Eric Bonker.
Cut out all these precision pieces with the laser. They just snap together. They pop on here, and then Mario can come in and, you know, he knows every model of guitar. He knows what the crucial points of it are. He can pick out all of the parts. Come in here, load the whole thing up. You saw how fast and confident he was working, because he's got to get all that down while the glue is usable. It's a lot of glue to spread, and you can't be letting one of it get tacky by the time you reach the end. So Mario goes through these. He's got backs and tops going, and he knows how long he wants everything to dry. He pulls it out when the glue is still, when the brace is stuck. Like for example, this where we were looking at a 3-hour dry time for those peg heads. This is 5 minutes for this, because it's a narrow piece, goes down, dries quick. Then he can come back and clean all the glue off of these, get everything done, and now they're ready for the next step. This is a route, a relief that we do. The lining of the guitar, the kerping, is going to end right there, and what this does is it performs a similar function to feathering a top in thickness, except for it leaves more mass in the top, which helps it sound better. So what it loosens the boundary edge, and it's just a relief cut we do from underneath, and it makes the whole, you know, instead of the thing vibrating to here, now it approaches the edge a little bit more, and you get a little more top out of the whole system. Got somebody who's putting the sides into the molds, and we go into this sanding machine. We call it a bowl sander. It's a curved spherical disc. It's sanding the back of the guitar rim to accept the back. So this edge is defined as a sphere. Okay, so what it is it's a 15-foot spherical surface. Yeah, the braces here have a 12-foot radius arc in them. And this has a 15-foot radius sphere, so the back actually is forced up in a little more proud bubble. So basically, like if we were a basketball and you drew the shape of a guitar and cut it out, that piece that comes out that looks like a Pringle potato chip. We're using a robotic arm, an electrostatic application device. So we've got a negative charge on the body and a positive charge on the paint. We're using a computer-controlled 5-axis robotic arm to move the guitar, and we're controlling the fan the pressure, everything about the way that paint is moving has all been worked into a program. The result is that all the paint goes on the guitar. Our Leany paint goes into the filters or up the smokestack. And we're also spraying a nearly 100% solids. By that I mean there's no solvent in the finish. So there's nothing evaporating that's going up as far as pollutants. So this one coat that's getting sprayed on is pretty much a guitar finish. Some of these guitars get sprayed once, some of them get sprayed twice, depending on what the model is. 9-volt, we made a whole new, the whole power supply and everything is back here now. And this, we liked thinking that this was a great place to put a battery. In fact, the old ES was like that too, but we had double A's in there. And sometimes they turned out to be a problem. 2 batteries for a user is a bad idea, especially when they're on top.
I only had one come out.
Yeah,
and
that's a
I
problem.
went to do a show, and so I just put one back in, and about halfway through the show, it was starting to make that distorted noise. And
it doesn't work because you
well,
put one in.
I didn't know there was 2 in there.
Yeah, and so we learned by being in this business now that batteries are different sizes. Japanese batteries, American batteries, Duracell. There's no. So we were trying to make this tube that all these batteries would fit in. And the fat batteries would get stuck, so we made it bigger so the fat battery, and then the skinny batteries wanted to vibrate.
I was wondering what that piece of paper was.
Yeah, so when we found, okay, we'll take a Post-it note and roll it like a cigarette around it, then the 2 would come out together, and, and people thought we were idiots, and, forever thinking, but, so workarounds. So eventually we went to 9-volt, it sounds better, and there's a lot more involved in this with grounded with fused string grounds and a lot of other things that we've this has a string ground, but you can get shocked with an electric guitar, right? You touch a microphone, you got a ground loop. We've solved all of that with Expression System, our electrics, T5s, and we have a new patented system that has a 5 milliamp fuse in there, and if that happens to you, the fuse blows and you don't get shocked, right? It's funny because the guitar is the only product I know on planet Earth that makes the user the ground. And it's like, how did that happen? And how does it continue to survive? So anyways, we have fuse protection on ours. What 0 means is that if I put this here and then we clamp this neck down to it, the neck will have basically no up pitch or no down pitch. This is our starting point. Okay. Now you would think that this is a square angle here, so you would want one with a 0 here, but we found through doing this that imagine you string a neck up, our guitar up, put pressure on it, there's going to be some stretching in this heel. Well, we've been able to figure out how much they stretch, and they stretch the same all the time, right? And it doesn't matter what kind of wood you use, it matters how many strings are on it. So a maple neck actually isn't any stronger than a mahogany neck in the end. They both stretch the same. So what we do is we put a -6. That means that from this fulcrum point to down here, this one gets 0.06 of an inch thinner. And we do them in increments of 2. So we have 0, 2, 4, 6. So we do in increments of 0.02. 0.02 of an inch is about half the thickness of a piece of paper. So that's the micro adjustment we have in angles in these increments all the way up. So -6 is what goes right here. If I have a 2 right there, that preloads the neck, gives me the right angle. What if this isn't the right angle? Maybe I need a +6. To get the right neck angle. If this were a +6, this would be a 0. If this were a +2, this would be a -4. We can set pickups to the right height, bridges to the right height, and then the neck angle.
How does that neck angle affect the intonations?
Well, it doesn't affect it at all because what's tricky about this is take the top of the 14th fret, everything rotates from there. So any other neck reset that you ever do on any other guitar in the whole entire world, you're moving the neck forward or backward to do it. This one never moves, it just rotates. So the intonation, it's the fulcrum. And so the frets remain in exactly the same relative position to the saddle, never change. You can change these neck angles all day and it doesn't do anything to the intonation. Because we're not moving the neck back, we're not moving it forward. There's a imaginary fulcrum at the top of the 14th fret, and the whole thing just rotates from there. Crazy.